Hey everybody, we are here with the PIO Spotlight. Yes, the Spotlight. This is the first of several series that we're going to be doing, just bringing information to our community and letting people know exactly what we're doing in Roselle. For so long, we haven't had this opportunity to bring this type of forum. But I'm happy that with the public information officer and some of the programs that's being designed, it's being designed in a way where we're making government transparent. And that's what we want. And I'm so happy to be here with one of our directors here in the borough who's helping us get in front of what's going to happen after everything's over. Everybody's talking about what's going on now. We need for you to social distance and all that type of stuff. But we want to make sure that we have Roselle residents and they're ready for what's going to come next. We have with us Director Pamela Jones, Mrs. Pamela Jones. And she's been with us ever since 2012 with this initiative that previous mayor, now Assemblyman Jamel C. Holly put together. And championed to help our residents with searching for jobs. And I can tell you now that we've had so many people call my office, so many people show up at Borough Hall. That's kind of concerned because this pandemic is really affecting and impacting everyone from the east side to the west side, from East First Avenue all the way to St. George Avenue. It's something that's really affecting all of us. So at this time, why don't you introduce yourself? I think I did almost a good job.
You did a wonderful job.
Why don't you introduce yourself and tell them about our Roselle First? Because I don't think a lot of people know about Roselle First and all the things that you do, your staff do, and it's one of those things where the people need to know because it's going to become even more crucial as we move forward to a norm, as we move forward to going through this pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to thank you first for having me here today. It's very important to know that there are cities that have mayors that are personable enough that they want to make sure that their communities have a level of awareness.
Yes.
And that's what's happening here today. And I am so excited to talk about Roselle First.
Yes.
And all of the wonderful things and the opportunities that exist here in the borough of Roselle. So let's start out first with a little bit of history.
Yes, please.
We've been here since 2012.
Wow.
We started, as you said, under Assemblyman Jamel C. Holly. From 2012 until the end of 2019,
yep.
We have hired maybe close to 1,000 people.
1,000?
1,000 people. Wow. And we're so excited to know that that has really had an effect on the opportunities for a better development aspect of the economics here for
wow.
the city of Roselle, for the borough of Roselle. So that's been exciting. The crash has taken place, though, with this pandemic of COVID-19,
okay.
where we are now experiencing some of the highest unemployment rates that we've ever seen, in the
yeah.
double digits now.
Yeah.
We were at 3.4%, and now we're at about 14.4%
wow.
of an unemployment rate for the borough of Roselle. Higher, believe it or not, than the national average.
Yeah.
So that brings me into Roselle First. I'm excited to be here
yes.
because we can do something about that staggering number of the unemployment population.
Okay.
We are still here. People don't realize that Roselle First still exists.
Yes.
With the pandemic, we don't have the offices open, and rightfully so. Nobody is having people come in and having the interface that used to be. So we've got a new norm. We're doing everything virtually. Mm-hmm. We want to make it available at some point to have people come in, to have face-to-face where it's absolutely necessary. But for the most part, we're doing everything virtually. So I want to talk about the need for education.
Yes.
And that's what's happening. We're having this divide in terms of people who are able to keep up as it relates to the entire employment theme, whether it be Roselle Borough related or wherever they're looking, any institution where they're looking for employment. The game has changed.
Right.
And there are new rules. And so I want to make sure that people know not only is Roselle First here, but we're here to equip the citizens of the borough about how to make that advantage, have a step of advantage in the employment arena. Mm-hmm. How do you navigate the systems that now exist? Everything is virtual. Mm-hmm. I want to use an example. Amazon has a lot of jobs, and this is just to give an example of what virtual means, because they're totally virtual. There is no interface with a human being.
Wow.
Everything is done through an automated perspective. You dial in on your phone to be able to do the actual interviewing. If you're interested in a job, you actually fill out the paperwork on your cell phone. There's no paper. Everything is done via cell. Once you've entered your information, they text you every day for every location that exists in Amazon, all of the positions that are open. Then it's your responsibility to get back to them via text to make sure that you allow their knowledge base to pull your name from the database, that you have responded and you're interested. Then they'll email you and ask you to upload your resume.
Wow.
Once you upload your resume, then the next step is that they'll review your resume and they'll then contact you via text to let you know that they're interested in you as an employee. And they give you a time frame. This offer only exists for 24 hours. It's a temporary offer of employment. You still have to meet some of the requirements, but you only have 24 hours. If by chance they don't look at their text messages for 24 hours, they have lost the opportunity. And so that looks bad in terms of, it looks badly in terms of their having the opportunity to have applied,
Sure.
but they weren't able to get through the process successfully.
Sure.
So people don't understand that. And so that's not only with Amazon, that's just about with every company now that has positions that are open. So Roselle First, on every Wednesday, we have by phone, because we know that people are uncomfortable, some with Zoom, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. People are very uncomfortable trying to figure out the dynamics, the process, how they're able to engage, as well as being just afraid of going back to the workforce because of the pandemic and these uncharted waters, not knowing what will happen.
I can only imagine, because I remember when I was younger, you know, when we looked for jobs, we would literally get a newspaper. We would highlight, we would make phone calls, we would go to the office, we would write an application, we would hope to get a phone call, then we would go there, then we would, you know, go through an interview process, and it would be so long. But now, since we have technology, I guess it's just moved in a total different direction.
And it's rapid.
Wow.
That's one of the things I want to say. People think that after they apply, they have this breathing room.
Right.
People are in such need of employees in today's time, especially these essential jobs, that they're getting back to people like right away.
Wow.
So whereas you thought you might have a chance to relax a little bit after completing the application, and you could then figure out some things like maybe your child care and all of the above, it's not happening that way.
Wow.
People are making job offers just very, very quickly, making them temporary and then bringing you on as a full-time employee after they get a chance to test you out to figure out if you're the one that's compatible, most compatible to that company.
Right.
So things are kind of changing. Then, of course, let's talk about what Roselle First is doing in terms of our preparing people for this.
That was my other question.
Yes.
You have. I guess you really have a mix, right? You have the younger people who know technology a little bit better than some of the older ones, and I'm not going to tell my age, but you may have that transition of, you have older people who now are out of work and they're looking to get back in. How does Roselle First prepare them? How do you get them ready?
Well, one thing, it's all about the process.
Okay.
If you understand the process, you can be in the game.
I love that.
The issue is, by not having the process, you're not able to pick up the game, because you don't know when, what, where, and how. And that's what we do. Okay. We make sure you know what's happening, when is it happening, how is it happening, and then your participation, how do you get engaged and how do you begin to be a part of the system called virtual employment?
I love it.
So we're having workshops by phone. We do it by phone because we know that we're dealing with people who some have more skill sets than others. Some people are more automation savvy and others are not. So we do it by phone on a conference call line where we give this information. Go to cic-nj.org. There you will see our class times and dates. And then, of course, you can sign up for the one that is best suited to your schedule. We have some that are during the day hours and some in the evening hours. That means if you're trying to transition from one job to another and you need the help with finding another position, that's also made available to you as well. So we're excited about just having the opportunity to have our course that is made available by conference call. Then we have documents that we email to you so you can have something in hand. You won't remember everything we've said. It's more like an orientation.
Right.
Then we give you an opportunity to have those tools by which to become ready.
Sure.
How to complete the resume. If you've already got a resume, how to update your resume. We take a look at existing resumes to see if there's something that needs to be tweaked and or changed. A lot of people, especially those who've had many jobs, put down too much information. People want to know exactly what they're looking for in you. So you have to make a presentation by way of resume to show how you are relevant to what they're offering.
Wow.
And so we make sure that we make the tweaks to the resumes by position to encourage an individual to have that upper hand or an upper leg in terms of trying to secure that position. And that is very, very important. People think that once they have a resume, you can just pass it around to everybody. But there is a need to make sure that your resume is relevant. And that's what we do. That's one of the things that we do to help out. Another thing is through the orientation. We make sure that someone has the right business acumen for the job that they're seeking. As an example, some jobs require that when you go for an interview, you really dress up and wear the suit and tie. Most jobs nowadays is business casual. And so you want to make sure that you have that opportunity. They're doing Zoom meetings instead of actual interviews. So you're going to dress for your Zoom meeting.
Right.
And people don't know that. And we want to make sure that you look alert, that you have on the right colors, that you have the right background. All of those things are important in terms of presentation. So we cover that with our people who are looking for employment. We cover that with our clients as well. We want to make sure that you know how to answer the questions. Oftentimes nowadays, how they're interviewing, it's not the traditional interview. It's group interviews. So on Zoom, there's about 10 or 12 people. They're asking these questions.
Wow.
And you have to be first. It's like what if you're going to answer the question, they're looking at the people who are sharp, that can jump in, answer the question readily, and that makes you a cut above the rest. So we're teaching them all types of techniques, how to not only play the game, how to stay in the game, and then how to make the deal.
Wow.
The deal is this. Simply, very simply put, when someone wants you to become their employee, you want to make sure that if they make you an offer, that you get that offer in writing. That is very important, that you seal the deal. A verbal is wonderful, but with the high-paced, fast-paced, and the quantity of people that are being hired, especially in these essential jobs, sometimes there are errors that are made. They'll call you and make you an offer, but then they forget to put you on the list of hires.
Wow.
And then when it's your day to go in to the computer and sign in for your paperwork, there's nothing there. And they've told you on this date that's what's going to happen, and you have to show proof.
Wow.
So we have asked that they take the next level of professionalism. Ask for everything in writing. Email them, even a repeat of the offer. I accept the offer to work at X location starting on this date at X number of dollars annually or hourly. That then can even be used as the document that is needed. And oftentimes people get so excited that they have been offered a job, they don't follow through, and things can happen.
Right.
So we want to make sure that they're able to have all of the process down to a science. One, how do you even look for a job nowadays? Well, one of the things that Roselle First makes easiest for them is that we give them a listing. So if you follow us on cic-nj.org, we have the positions that are listed. And then you can make an inquiry. You must do an orientation session. We don't just give you the information. We tell you where the jobs are or what type of job it is. But we don't give you the specific information until you call in so that we can ensure, one, that you are prepared for that employer. Number two, that you have all of the skills that are needed in knowing how to make the right type of connection, because every employer is different. And we have an opportunity to talk to those employers in advance to find out what they're looking for and their needs. Another thing, if you apply for a job and you don't go through Roselle First versus someone who goes through Roselle First, we're able to follow up. We're able to follow up and to ask questions where, as you will never have someone at Amazon's email address, we do.
Wow.
And we can make direct inquiries on your behalf.
Right.
So there's some advantages to having someone, Roselle, on your side. That's who we are. We're Roselle First,
I like
and we're
that.
Roselle on your side.
I love
We
that.
want to make sure that you get the job. We're having a couple of events that are coming up, and I just
Yes.
want to make sure I mention those.
Yes.
Let's see, we're going to have on the third, we'll talk about the one that's coming up later. The 13th, we're having for our adults. We service both adults and youth. Adults and youth, in helping them to find jobs. Our focus with youth right now is to get them prepared for the hires for the holidays. But with our other population, we've made a little bit of a disconnect with them. So we're trying to make sure, one, I'm here today to let them know Roselle First is still alive and well, and we're here to help you. To make this connection, we realize that if you have not been working, you may have some needs. So as an incentive, we have a program on the 13th that's going to take place at 4:30. The first who sign up will be able to receive a $25 ShopRite gift card.
Wow.
So we're trying to encourage as many people as possible to sign up for that particular day. We've got quite a few gift cards, so you need to go ahead and sign up. But don't think it's going to be for 4 or 5. It's much more than that. So we want to encourage you not only to know that Roselle First still exists, but we care. We care about your not being able to make ends meet during difficult times. So that's going to take place at 4:30. It's going to be a call that we're going to do. It's a conference call because we understand some people are limited right now as it relates to Zoom, and that's one thing that we do in our training. We're
Right.
going to get you up to speed with Zoom.
Now, is there a link that they can go to?
Yes, it's going to be 701-802-5160, and the access code is 393655. So if you go to cic-nj.org/CIC events online, you'll be able to register. And that's how we're going to keep track of who's going to get the cards. So you want to register. You want to go to cic-nj.org/CIC events. And you want to do this quickly. It's going to be held on October the 13th at 4:30 p.m. It's going to be done via conference call. So that's something that's happening. But even sooner than that, we're having an event for our youth, and that's going to take place in the next couple of days. That's going to be on Thursday, October the 8th. This is for our youth to become acclimated and have the right level of business acumen in order to get one of these jobs that's over the holiday season. Do you know oftentimes that our young people, they get employment, but they don't stay with that employer long? And it's because they just don't know, from a business perspective, how to conduct themselves. Even to get a job, they don't understand what is needed in order for them to make this connection with an employer in a way by which it's acceptable.
Right.
Oftentimes, just because of your being young, and I was young one time too, all of us, and we just didn't know exactly what to do. We might say, huh? You don't when you talk to an employee, you just don't say, huh. You want to say, excuse me, or would you repeat that again? And we give them the words to use, the soft skills that are needed for them to make a connection with the employer. It's simple things that they don't realize and don't even think of that keep them out of the job market. We want them to know that when you go in and you fill out an application online, you don't fill out part of it and then say, oh, I'll get back to this later tonight.
No.
They time those things.
Wow.
And the way they choose the people that they want to hire is the ones who sit through the entire process and fill out that application from beginning to end. So we teach them things like have all of your information right there at fingertip. Your social security number, your references, everything that you would not normally think about having at fingertip. You just say, I'm excited, I want to fill out an application for a job, but it's a process. And it's a manner in which you do this that's acceptable or it's unacceptable. Oftentimes people say, well, I didn't have that information, so, I just saved it, I logged out, and then the next day I was able to complete the application. And then they said, well, I didn't hear from anyone. Mm-hmm. There's a reason why you don't hear from people. Right now, there are a lot of essential jobs, especially in the fast foods and the supermarkets. Those are the areas where you can, you can just kind of almost be assured that they're very interested in hiring young people for those particular jobs. So we have that available to you. It's going to be at 6 o'clock p.m. via Zoom. Now, our young people, they know how to get on Zoom. That's not an issue. So we're doing theirs by Zoom. And it's going to be on the 8th, Thursday the 8th. So we need you to go ahead and register at cic-nj.org/CIC events. Again, that's cic-nj.org/CIC events with an S. So go ahead and sign up. And guess what? We didn't put this on the flyer, but for those who register and register early, we're going to have some prizes for those individuals as an incentive, because our young people are very, very precious. This is our future, and getting them started in the work world, this is going to be something that's going to impact them for the rest of their lives. Awesome. And guess what? They're going to be able to say, in my town, in Roselle, we had a program. You know how it is. When we get older, we start talking, well, when I was coming up, they used to have this. Well, this is going to be a legacy for them. Very good. They're going to be able to remember how Roselle engaged in getting young people started in the work world. This is awesome. Yes, so Roselle First is here. We're ready to connect. We're ready to service you. Go to our website, cic-nj.org, and just take a look at Roselle First. See all of the wonderful opportunities that exist. You'll get a chance to see positions that are available. You'll have contact information, and guess what? You'll be talking to an individual. A lot of these processes are automated. What do we offer that's different? We give you a chance to really have a conversation, to ask the questions that you need to ask. You can just make sure that you disclose of anything that you want to disclose of, and we're not judgmental. Some people say, well, I have a record. Well, guess what? We help people who have had a past with the system. Awesome. That is something that we really work with to make sure that there's no area of our saying you're not qualified. Everybody's qualified. And what we do is we look for those employers that are friendly to meet your needs, so you don't waste your time. And that's another thing that we do. We're able to direct them to the most appropriate jobs that's suitable to them. I do want to make a plea to everyone who's out there. It's COVID-19, a pandemic season. All of the jobs that you might want are not available. Most jobs that are open are those positions that are the essential jobs. And if you could just understand the importance of maybe accepting an essential job just until the pandemic is over to help meet the needs of your families, I just ask that you make that a consideration. We're not talking about a life career. At Amazon, they're paying anywhere from $15 to $18 an hour. Wow. That might not sound like a whole lot to you, but for a family that's in need, it beats zero. And so we're trying to encourage you to take advantage, because this is the trick that works against you, and this is what you need to know. The longer your period of unemployment, the harder it is to get a job. The longer your period of unemployment, the harder it is for an employer to accept you in terms of a job opening when they have a need. Mm-hmm. So we do understand that, and make arrangements. I want to make sure that you make arrangements now before you start looking for a job. Make sure you know about child care. How is that going to happen? If you are the care provider for maybe someone in your family who's sick and in need, and you have filled the gap for that service, but you need to go to work at this point, you need to look into that and talk to your family and make arrangements. One of the things that employers do not want to hear in today's times, and it might sound a little upsetting to some, but they are not really interested in you having to make provisions for family, not at all. In fact, that's a topic that you want to steer clear of. You want to have all of that worked out so that you don't engage them or get them involved. Another little tip I want to give you, and this is what you learn at Roselle First, is people who no longer have a bank account, and they get a job, and then they want to call the employer and have them verify at a check cashing place that they are who they are. That's a turnoff to an employer. Yeah. Make sure from a financial perspective that you have a family member that you can utilize in helping to get your check cashed and not try to reach out to the employer. Wow. That is not a good idea. And we have so many employers that are saying on Fridays, that is the busiest day in human resources, when people are calling because of the fact they don't have bank accounts anymore. They can't open them up right away until they do have their check cashed. Right. And there's a little bit of an issue because of all of the restrictions and the stipulations that banking institutions have had to add, because everybody has not been above board in terms of doing banking business. Right. And they've gotten stuck. So as a result, we want you to make sure that you're ready, not only to be able to be prepared to get the job, but once you get it, we want to also give you helpful tips on how to keep it.
Awesome. And that, in a nutshell, is the wealth of knowledge, information, and wisdom that we have right here in Roselle with Roselle First. Roselle First is Roselle on your side. Make the connection, come on down, visit them on Facebook, visit them via our website, and also the information will be posted. But this is the information that we're bringing to you on the PIO Spotlight. This has been Reverend Atkins, your mayor, and this has been our director, Pamela Jones. Thank you very much for joining us. If you have any questions, call our offices, and we'll make sure that all this information is readily available. Once again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Awesome.
If there were more mayors like you, the world would be a better place. Hats off to you,
Thank you
for having this type service to serve your community. Thank you
very much. Thank you.